Good morning. As we go to the Chumash, the Chitas of today, we are holding in the new Pashas Boy, the third portion in the book of Shemais. We're holding on Sunday. Today, the first portion. We're holding chapter 10, verse number 1. Vayem Hashem al Moshe and God said to Moshe, Be'el pari come to Pharaoh. Kaniach baratisli, because I hardened his heart. The slave Avodav in the heart of his servants. Laman Shisi Oisaisai. So that I'll place my miracles, my signs, Eile Bekirbai in him. So Rashi says, Boy pari and warn him. Shisi. The word shisi means to be placing, to be putting. Also, that you be able to tell your ears, the ears of your sons and your daughters. I mean, it's your son's sons. Everything that I brought upon Egypt. And my signs, which I put upon them. And you'll know Hashem, that I am God. Now she says that salalti is the concept of I mocked. Salalti. Sachakti, I played around with. Moshe came to Pharaoh. And they said to him, this is what God of the Jews said. How much longer you're not going to be humble yourself before me? Send my nation out so they can serve me. Now she says, la'ana is the word lisachna, which comes from the root of oni, which means to be humbled, meek before me. Because if you refuse to send my nation, I'm going to bring about locusts in your country. The piece says, saying the artist is going to cover the eye of the land. You will not be able to see the land. It's going to eat everything that the hail left over. It's going to eat every tree that is growing. That's growing for you from the land. It's ayin ha'aretz and mana ha'aretz, the view of the earth. Anyone who are able to see will not be able to see the earth, but it's going to fill your house, whatever dech, and the house of your servants, the house of the entire Egypt, which your fathers haven't seen, your fathers' fathers, the day you are on the earth, until today. And they went out of Pharaoh. The servants of Pari said to him, how much longer will this one be a stumbling block for? Get him, send them out. And let them serve the God. Don't you already know that Egypt has been destroyed? You don't know what's going on in the country. But Yeshua said he brought back Moshe to Pari. He said to them, go. Who and who are going? But Yoshev Rashi says first he brought it back through a messenger whom the Egyptians sent out, and they returned to Pharaoh. It doesn't say who it was. Moshe Rabbeinu said, "B'nareinu with our youth, b'zkaneinu with our elders, nelech we will go, b'baneinu with our children, u'bibneseinu with our daughters, b'tzeineinu with our cattle, b'tzkedeinu with our flock and cattle, nelech we will go. Ki chag l'Hashem lanu, because it is a celebration to God." So he said to them, "Yichen Hashem imachem, may God be with you. Like I'm going to send you, and your children. See that the evil is before your faces." Now she says, and surely I'll not let the flock and the cattle out, as you said. What are you sending? What am I sending all your children? Rashi says, understand the Targum, Uncle's renders, I've heard that renders it. I've seen evil on your faces. But I heard that Agada in Medrash, however, explains the passage follows. There's a star named Ra, meaning Ra, evil. Pharaoh says to them, to Moshe Aaron, with my astrology, I see a star ascending towards you in the desert. Where would you like to go? And there's a sign of blood and slaughter. When the Israelites, so he said, I see, I'm simply need to protect you. Seems like you don't know what's ahead, you're heading towards. And the truth is, he had some kind of, there was something going to happen. As we know, when the Israelites sinned the golden calf, the Holy One, blessed be He, sought to kill them. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, why should the Egyptians said, with Ra'ah, you took them out? So later, Moshe Rabbeinu alludes to this Pharaoh tells him about this star. This is what the Pharaoh said to him. See that Ra'ah, evil is opposite your face, implying that there's a blood that would shed in the desert. Immediately, the Lord repented of the Ra'ah, the sign of the star, and he turned the bloodshed, it symbolized by the star, into blood of circumcision. Yeshua, in fact, circumcised them. This is the meaning of what he said, this day I've rolled away the reproach of the Egyptians from you, later in Joshua. Where they were saying to you that we see blood over you in the desert. Therefore, my advice is, only the men should go. Hashem and go and serve God. Because that's what you're looking for, to serve God. Why are you sending children? So he chased them away from the Pharaoh. You said you want to take your children with you, but let men go worship the Lord. Meaning with worship, you have requested until now, telling let's go offer sacrifice to God. Young children do not usually offer sacrifices. So go with your adults. But you got to shush them. So now the Pharaoh chased them away. And the Lashon cuts is like a short word. I didn't say who, but it was the Pharaoh who chased them away from the palace. That completes the Chumash for today. Go now to the chapter of the 17th chapter of Tanya. And they changed the font on me for some reason. Change the font in the Tanya. With that, Yuvan Alter Rebbe continues. This will understand Mashakasa with this explanation that even the fear and love of God, which remains concealed in one's heart, suffices to infuse one's fulfillment of commandments with vitality, thereby for perfect elevation and elevating them. Will understand the verse. For this thing is very near to you, in your mouth and in your heart, that they may do it. The verse states that it's easy for one to fulfill the Torah mitzvahs with the three garments of the soul: thought, speech, and action. The word with your mouth refers to speech, with your heart to thought, and that which you do, it refers to action. So the three garments, that's what Alter Rebbe explains this verse. That it's easy for a person to ultimately think what he wants to think, and to speak what he wants to speak, and to act the way he wants to act. So that's the thing. The deeper sense, however, your heart refers to the power of thought, but also to the heart, to seats of the emotions, love, fear, and so on. The verse tells us then that it's easy to reach every Jew the fulfillment of mitzvahs with feelings of awe and love of God. That's the way you simply translate the verse, the heart. With your heart. Concerning this, the Alter Rebbe poses the question. At first glance, statement that he's saying that it's near to you. In your heart seems contrary to our experience. In our experience, we find it not so simple feat to acquire spirit of love and fear of God. And the Torah is everlasting. Hence, it could not refer only to Moshe's generation, a generation of great understanding, it's called, and the great generation of understanding, but it must be true to every generation, to us. In our it's in our experience, it is not very near to change one's heart from worldly desires to sincere love of God. It's not the reality. For by nature, one is inclined towards the former. As is written, in the duties of the heart, desire for worldly pleasure are unable to dwell in the heart together with the love of God. In order to attain the love of God, therefore, it's necessary for one to change his nature from one extreme to another. By no means an easy matter. Because the Gemara, as the Gemara itself says, Atu Yida Milsa Zutasi. The Gemara on the statement of Moshe Rabbeinu asked the Jews to do fear of God. The Gemara says, is this easy? Is this fear of heaven a small matter? So if the Gemara asked the question on this thousands of years ago, so what is the Gemara's questions even more stronger today? So this indicates that, as the Alter Rebbe points out, that even Moshe Rabbeinu's generation, surely subsequent generations, it was no simple matter to acquire the fear of God. If it's true with the fear of God, because all of us have guilt and all these things, but still no, it's not easy to acquire. So surely the love of God, for fear of God is generally more easily attainable than love of God. Moreover, as sages said, that only tzaddikim have control of the hearts. To arouse a love and fear of God, whatever they so do desire. So the latter quotation intensifies the question, as it ever points out. Not only is very near to you, used to achieve the love of God, but on the contrary, it's possible only for tzaddikim. We learned before that to have true love of God is only a tzaddik can acquire that, because it's a gift. The God gave him a gift. God's not giving me this gift. How then can it state that the love of God is very near to us? Indicating that our heart is now controlled, that we can divert from mundane desire to love God. So what is the meaning of the pasuk? Therefore, the pasuk adds the third word, because that is the main point over here. Refers to the love which merely leads to fulfillment of commandments. The Torah is telling us that we can create an avas Hashem that gets us to do what is right. Which bring us to fulfillment of commandments, although strictly speaking, it's not actual love. So the Alter Rebbe interprets words where you may do it as the qualification of the earlier phrase, for this thing is near to you in your heart. What's near to you in your heart? What sort of love is easily attainable? That love which pertains to action, that you may do it. Thereby, we also understand the order of the words in the verse. The words in your mouth and in your heart, that you may do it, refers to the three soul garments of thought, speech, and action, as we have observed earlier. However, the order in which they are listed in the verse is difficult to understand, for it seems to be neither an ascending order, action, speech, and thought, nor a descending order, thought, speech, and action. Why is the middle faculty speech? But first, why is the middle faculty speech, but first followed by thought in the heart, and then action, what you may do? However, according to interpretation of the words, that you may do it giving here, this is readily understood. These words follow immediately as the words in your heart, where they serve to explain and qualify them. The love which the kikarav elecha davar ma'od beficha ubelvavcha, the love in which the verse speaks in the heart, is that which leads to action that you may do. And that's why it says beficha, which comes first, the speech, ubelvavcha, in your heart, la asaisa, even though the heart, in the one interpretation, it means the thought, but it also means the heart, the simple emotions. And we want to express that we want you to have emotions out there. The pasuk wants to tell you that you should have emotions that bring you to action. And that's why Bilvavcha is in the middle, even though on one hand, Bilvavcha goes on thought, which is before speech, but Bilvavcha goes on your emotion, your heart, which is the concept that brings you to action. That means that the hidden desire in your heart, even if it does not burn open like a burning fire, it can still lead us to fulfill the commandments. And this arousing of love, every person arouses within his heart, whatever it might be, whatever level it might be, This arousing love which may be hidden in the heart is very, very near to every man who has a brain in his head, for his mind is under his control. And he can meditate as he pleases on every subject. And when we'll contemplate on the greatness of God, at least to create a mind love. Maybe it won't create a real love, but it'll create a mind love. And this mind love creates the aspect, if this even mind love, that I think that I love, and I feel that I love in my mind, it's an intellectual love, then this intellectual love will ultimately bring you to do what is right. Reform it to commandments in the study of Torah. And that is a good avodah. That for a Beinoni is an unbelievable accomplishment, that he can have his bonus that brings in his mind a love of God that gets him to do la'asosei, that gets him to do right. And that everybody, kikarev elecha, that's what Moshe Rabbeinu says. Kikarev elecha, adav v'moed. We're not looking, and that's why the Gemara doesn't answer. The Gemara says, oh, is this an easy thing? And the Gemara says, yes, because Lagabi Moshe, it's an easy thing. But the truth is, it's easy. Ultimately, the Alter Rebbe says it is easy to everybody, because the pasuk over here is not looking for a love of that you're going to have a burst of love, a true love of God. The pasuk is looking that every one of us should be able to create a Avos Hashem, that we should serve the Eibishter, that will say we should do what is right, and and therefore we should become a real people. Whatever love to us is. Even if it's intellectual love, that's us. That's who we are. And we're not going to become tzaddikim tonight, and we're not going to become tzaddikim overnight. We are going to do what we can do, and we're going to accomplish what we can accomplish, and that is what the pasuk says. This thing is very close to each and every one of us to do what is right, because we're going to create an Avos Hashem, the in our mind, in our mouth, in our hearts, to be able to do what is right. And that completes the Tanya of today. Today is the 4th day of the month, which is chapter 23 to chapter 28 in your Tilim. That's 6 chapters. If you do those 6 chapters, you do the Chitas of the day. Wish you all a wonderful day. And Mitzvah at 10 a.m., we will continue to learn Tanya, either at the JEI, which is the school right to the in this Chabad center over here in the shopping center, or on Zoom, Torah Direct. I wish you all a wonderful and beautiful day. See you, Mitchum, tomorrow morning for sure at 8 a.m. We'll continue the Chitas.